Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates. In this video I wanted to give you my first impressions of Emperor Palpatine, because as you might have guessed, that was the first hero I decided to test out when I played Battlefront 2, because well, who doesn't love Palpatine? And I got the chance to try him mostly in Heroes vs Villains, but I did also get to try him briefly in Galactic Assault as well as Arcade. And I had to say that my first impression is that he's actually a little bit weak. He does not have the kind of offense that I was hoping for, but he is more of a kind of crowd controller. So he can be really good in Heroes vs Villains if he has a team around him, but he is not as good in a one-on-one because he doesn't have a lot of damage output. So the first thing is that his main attack is of course his normal Force Lightning, but he cannot block, as he instead can attack with both his hands. So if you left click, he uses the left hand, if you right click, he uses the right hand, so you can then double your damage output by using them both at the same time. But I thought the problem here is that it overheats fairly quickly and doesn't deal too much damage, and since you can't block, you don't really stand a chance against anyone, especially after you've overheated your lightning. So I felt like the main Force Lightning needs to be buffed quite a bit, because the abilities I think were great as they are. He just needs more damage output in general. And his three abilities is the Chain Lightning that works fairly similar to the previous game, where it bounces between enemies and deals quite a lot of damage, especially to normal infantry. And then we have the Dark Aura, which is actually really cool, where he is charged with force energy, damaging and slowing foes. And this thing is really good in Heroes vs Villains, because if you stay alive and pop that in the middle of a battle, everyone's gonna be slowed and everyone's gonna take damage around you, which makes you into a really good asset in that game mode. And then lastly we have the Electrocute ability, where he sends kind of like a shockwave of Force Lightning in front of him and immobilizes any enemies that are hit by it. And I don't think it deals any damage, at least not from what I could tell, but it is a very good crowd control tool as well. So as you can hear, if you combine all of his three abilities, it's actually really good, because if you start off by using the Electrocute to immobilize everyone in front of you, then you use the Dark Aura to get in there and the Chain Lightning to damage them all, you have done a lot for your team and your teammates can definitely finish them off. The problem then is that if they don't die by that and your abilities are on cooldown, you can't really do much. You can of course use the iconic little twirl dodge, which does indeed help a lot, but the main Force Lightning damage really isn't that high, and on top of that it overheats very quickly. So I would say that Palpatine relies a little bit too much on his abilities right now, and I'm fine with the fact that he can't block if they instead buff his damage output a little bit, because I feel like that's a fair trade-off. If you don't have a lot of defense, you should have a lot of offense instead. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts when using Palpatine. I think the impressions of most heroes will change the more you play them, because I've only have a couple of minutes of playtime with Palpatine, so it might turn out to be better than I first thought, but these were simply my first impressions after playing him at the capture event over in Sweden. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.